I was halfway through making coffee in my pajamas when someone pounded on my door like they wanted to break it down. I barely had time to hide the evidence of another sleepless night with him, the empty wine glasses, his sweatshirt draped over my chair, before I cracked the door open. She stood there, her face red and streaked with mascara, holding a thick envelope in one hand and clutching her phone in the other. Without saying a word, she shoved the papers at my chest. It took me a second to process the word divorce in bold at the top before she spoke. He's all yours now. Good luck. It was like the floor dropped out from under me. I'd always known he was married, but he spun stories about how they were separated, how she was cruel, how their marriage was just a technicality. But as she stared at me, broken, furious, and somehow victorious, I realized I wasn't the only one swallowing his lies. She rattled off details only someone who had been watching closely would know. The nights he said he was working late, the perfume I wore, the restaurant where we'd celebrated our anniversary. She knew everything, and somehow, I didn't feel angry. I felt exposed. He showed up less than an hour later, pounding on my door just as she had. His face was pale, and for once he didn't have a story ready. He just stared at me, then at the envelope on my kitchen table, then back at me. I asked him if anything he'd said to either of us was ever true. He opened his mouth, closed it, and then started to cry. I'd seen him angry, passionate, manipulative, but never this. He begged me to understand, to wait, to believe that I was different. I realized he wasn't sorry for what he'd done. He was sorry he'd been caught. I stood there watching him unravel and felt something inside me split. I wanted to scream, to throw something, to wrap my arms around him and make it all make sense. Instead, I picked up the divorce papers, shoved them into his chest, and told him to leave. The truth is, I'd always been waiting for him to choose me. But as the door slammed behind him, I realized I'd never really chosen myself.